This is the Action Movie Guys podcast, bringing you action movie reviews from across the decades, plus box office numbers and insight like never before. And now, your hosts of the Action Movie Guys podcast, Alex and Nate.
Welcome, everyone, to a brand new episode of the Action Movie Guys podcast, episode 233. Oh, we're tackling the final movie of the Wolverine. It's called Logan by my man, James Mangold. And, of course, Hugh Jackman as Logan, supposedly. But we'll talk about that in another movie. But other than that, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa, and my co-host is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
All right, Nate, let's just get right into the meat and potatoes. How long has it been since you've seen Logan?
Okay, I saw this. This is a funny one because this was one of the first movies I reviewed on my old podcast. We launched it in 2017, and this came out in March of 2017. I remember. I saw it at the theater twice, and then I watched it in black and white. I want to say maybe like 2019. So I'm going to say it's been like three and a half years since I watched it.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I saw the movie one time in the theater. Then I saw it again when I purchased it on 4K. And that's kind of the last time. Because when I put this on, I was like, man, this movie has been a while. But is it good or bad? But anyway, let's talk about the critics and the audience. Let's see what they have to say about Logan. What they got here.
Listen, buddy, this one is crazy high. This one's crazy high. 94% critics score on Logan and a 90% audience score. I think it's a little weird that the critics are higher. They're both high, don't get me wrong. But I would think it would be 90 and 94 audience because, who doesn't I don't know anybody who doesn't like this movie. At least critics, they look at things critically and they can get all a little, foofy. But regular people, this should be 98, 99.
I agree with you because everyone that I talk to that go, hey, Logan, everybody be like, my top three superhero movie of all times, right? Between The Dark Knight and some other, and Avengers Endgame, because everyone throws Endgame in that category.
Or Infinity War. Infinity War.
People love Infinity War. Those are the four that people will put as their number one, as their favorite superhero movies of all time, right? I have a feeling, critic-wise, this is why I think critics is super high. This film is not filmed as a traditional superhero movie. It feels just like a regular drama movie. But we're going to break all that down for you in storyline and overall. But that's my theory, is that the way the film was written and directed, that the critics fell in love with this movie. What do you think?
It's a Western. This is a Western. This is a modern, the parallels between, the one scene where they're watching the movie Shane in the hotel, they're parallels with the characters. And this is a Western. It all takes place in Texas, Kansas, out in the, you know what I mean? So yeah, I agree with you. I think that's why they ate it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think so too. They gobbled it all up, but it's all right because we're going to get right into it right now with our lead character for the final time, Hugh Jackman as Logan Wolverine Nate.
Listen, we talked about this movie, this series so far, these spin-offs, right? We've gave him a 5 on both of the other ones. And if those were worth a 5, then this is worth a 6 because and I'm saying it right now. Even at the time that I saw it, I felt he was snubbed, that he didn't get an Oscar nomination for Best Actor for this movie. And I'm not even exaggerating. Yeah, I get it. It's a comic book movie. Whoop-de-doo. You know what I mean? Heath Ledger got nominated. I know it's probably because he had passed away, but still, The point is, good acting is good acting. And Hugh Jackman is amazing in this. Now, I know we're not scoring the performance, but if we were, also a 5 out of 5. As far as the character, you want to talk about a progression from X-Men Origins to this? And yeah, there were some X-Men movies in between. But really, if you watch these 3 movies in a row, it feels like an arc. You know what I mean? For the character. Yes. Everything they do with him in this, James Mangold came up with the story, and he was one of the co-writers on the script. He just nailed it. He nailed the character. He had him spot on. He's older. The adamantium in his body is now poison. It's now starting to poison him, where his healing factor doesn't really work as much. He's becoming mortal. It took him a long time, but he's finally becoming mortal. And there's that element, all the stuff with him and Professor X. I love him and Laura. Laura as a co-lead, also a 5 out of 5. Amazing character. X-23 is a really cool concept. And I thought she was great. That actress, Daphne Keane is her name. She's amazing in this. When she like when they're arguing, she just like growls at him. I'm like, she's literally like a little version of him. You know what I mean? And I think they nailed it. A 5 across the board for him, for her, for everybody in this movie. 5. Well, okay. All the good guys. 5.
No, dude, everything you said is right. Hugh Jackman, first of all, old man Logan, right? Let's just call him old man Logan. He was so good. And you're right. He got fucking snubbed in the Oscars, man. Because I was watching this movie and I'm like, he really like carried this movie. Like even the scene that Laura is cursing him out in Spanish, and he's like, all right. He's like, shut the fuck up. Like he just got so fucking mad. I was like, I loved it. Because you could see he is so tired of being an X-Men. Like and that's one thing I loved about the movie too, like how X-Men is a comic book, like their entertainment, like they made all this shit up, and he's like, I don't want to be part of, like, I don't want this no more, right? Like, yeah. And you could see the event from the Wolverine took its toll on Wolverine at the end. And I thought it was great. Him and Charles Xavier, let's just talk about Patrick Stewart here, because he did a phenomenal job for a teacher. His powers is, talking to people's minds. He's catching, seizures because of that mind power. His old body can't handle the power no more. Yeah. And I think it's so fantastic. And you're right. Him and Hugh Jackman has such a great chemistry between the two. It's so fun. I only wished that we got a little bit other X-Men in this time period just to see where they were. Scott was dead, but like Storm, where was Storm, right? Like where was the other X-Men? I mean, but I think he said a line that they died. I think he said that they died.
I think he killed them with one of those crazy seizure things, but I think that's what it's implied. However, Caliban was there. And he was okay. Like Stephen Merchant's fine. The bald guy, the guy that looks like Powder. He's cool. But I wish that was like someone we knew already. Like another old X-Men or something. Rogue or anybody. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, it would have been neat.
I agree. Like, I felt like, man, we just needed that one more X-Men just to make a cameo. Yeah. And then dies. Like, he uses the power for the last time to save Hugh Jackman and Charles from, like you could
do the same
escaping.
thing. He blows up the grenades. Like, it could literally have the same arc. It's just a different person.
Yeah, I agree with you. Or Beast. That would have been cool.
Yeah. Like smell them or something,
Yeah. But anyway, fantastic. Of course, yeah, I loved it, man. I'm not going to lie, dude. I teared at the end when Logan went. I'm not going to lie.
It's a great scene.
And that was a great scene, and we'll talk about it in action sequences. But yes, in terms of lead character, phenomenal. You're right. Oh, the little girl. Oh, she was so good. And
she nails it.
Again, this movie was 2017. So it was like 5 years, 6 years later, and they're not using her for another Wolverine. It's just a waste.
I mean, I know with the rights switching from Fox to Marvel.
Yeah.
But if they're smart, she's probably the age now, she's got to be she was maybe 10 here. She got to be at least 16, 17. That's, I feel like, what X-23 should be anyway. Like, slightly older. This was her when she was like a little kid. I think they should give her a call and bring her back, to be honest, because especially if they're going to do anything without Wolverine, let's just say, I would be okay. This is the one time where I'd be okay if she was kind of the fill-in. Because she was dope. I loved her.
I agree. She could carry a movie because I'm not gonna lie. If Wolverine would have died in the first 20 minutes and it was just her going with Xavier, I would have been like, you know what, this shit is awesome. Because she got foot claws, bro. I went nuts.
Kicking the dude, is she just stabbing him? I was like, oh, she's ferocious.
It was crazy. But okay, let's get right into it. Okay, main villain.
Okay, so I want to preface what I'm about to say with something else that I'm about to say.
All right.
I think this is, and maybe this is a spoiler for everything else, but I don't care. I think this is a perfect movie. There's nothing in it that I would necessarily change. However, with the way we score these movies, and I'm looking at it through that lens, to me, the only thing that isn't 1,000,000% perfect to me is the villain. Now, don't get me wrong. I think, here's my issue. Similar to the last movie, The Wolverine, they're formidable. They put him through the ringer. They pretty much kill him or almost kill him, a lot of times. The problem is when I give a 5 for villain, I need a guy. I need a point that I can look at and be like, this guy is just an equal to our hero or a counterpoint. And this is another one of those movies where there's like 3 villains. There's the old guy who's in charge of everything. You know what I mean? Then there's Boyd Holbrook with the metal hand, who honestly, if we were scoring like him only, is not that great to me because he always has a big team of people and he's kind of annoying. You know what I mean? So I can't give him a 5. I'm not giving that old guy a 5. And then X-24, who's just like CGI younger. Well, it's Hugh Jackman, but they aged him down a little bit. Who's awesome, but I mean, he doesn't talk. He doesn't have any personality. He's just an angry Wolverine. He's like a reverse Wolverine. That being said, it as a whole, it equals up to be like a very formidable challenge. But I can't give it a 5 because to me, I like the Joker. I need that guy, Joker Batman. I need, freaking Mr. Freeze Batman. I need Dr. Octopus Spider. I need a guy. Yeah. So this is like a collection of really good villains, solid, works for the movie. Don't get me wrong, it works. But I'm gonna give him a 4. It's not a perfect villain scenario to me.
I agree with you. It was a 4. I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. There was no Magneto in this type of film for him to go up against or even go, damn, I remember you. And he goes, man, you're just old. And they just going at each other. You're right. I kind of like to do with the Metal Claw, but he was a bitch though. He was just like, my hands are bleed. It's the Wolverine. And I'm like, okay, cool. But this is the thing that I was kind of confused, right? So in the beginning when they met each other, right? Yeah. He goes, it's Wolverine, my God, right? And you're like, okay, cool. He seemed like he was not scared of Wolverine. Right. He's like, you're old, you're whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. When Wolverine whipped out those claws, he was just like, whoa, big guy. He was like, and I was just like, wait a minute, because the few scenes back, you alluded that you could whoop this dude's ass because he's old. But the minute he got angry, he was just like, whoa, and then he let the other dudes shoot in and jumped in, and then the other girl came out. It was over because it was Papa and his daughter going at it. So that's where I struck a little bit going, I'm going to deduct points because honestly, if he would have been like, my man, step back because I already know you're old. Your adamantium is poisoning you. Calm down. Like, I thought he was going to punch him or, kind of weaken him. He didn't do none of that.
Let everyone else do everything.
You know what? Even talk about it. He didn't even go toe to toe with Wolverine.
Never.
He never did.
They never fight because Wolverine would stab him in the head and he would die.
Then you got the old man that wanted to be like the older version of William Stryker. Yeah, it was like a bootleg Stryker, right?
Yep.
And I think they alluded also that he killed mutants to do these experiments, right? Because he talked about it. He figured
out a way to. He had a contributing factor too in eliminating mutants as far as natural mutants. That's what he says. And they made him in a lab, so he wanted to control them.
Yeah, so you got him, and then of course, I'm not gonna lie though, the young ass Wolverine.
He was cool.
He was cool. Good.
Yeah,
but the
CGI
at least
they could fight each other.
The CGI was not good, but there was I kind of Hugh Jackman got jacked for that role. I don't know if it's his body double when he's Old Man Logan, and then they switched back because you can see when it's not CGI, it's really Hugh Jackman in the suit. Yeah. But man, he was jacked. I was like, oh my God.
It's cool. Watching Wolverine fight Wolverine, essentially, it's neat.
It is cool.
It's cool, but it's not the best because that's like the same thing of like Iron Man. It's just like he fights a guy in a suit. I like it when they fight someone that's like different than them. Magneto.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. Awesome. I agree, but you know
cool
what?
To watch.
It was cool, but you kind of saw the seasoned version of Wolverine whooping the younger version. And then I thought it was pretty cool. But anyway, at the end of the whole thing, I gave him a 4. It worked. Like, you're right. It worked for this film, and it guided us, and I hated all of them. So it did its job. Pretty much. And then when they killed the old lady, I felt so bad for her.
Oh my God, that family. The freaking kid, he's like a teenager. He's just like stabbed. I'm like,
we'll talk about that storyline because there's something I gotta say about that because I felt so bad. But that was the main villain there. Yeah. We gave it 4 across the board. Okay, action.
Oh, I mean, a 5. Now, this is not over the top. This is more like just hard hitting action, R-rated. You know me. I love my blood. Give me some bloody violence, and I'm there all day. And this guy stabs at least 7 people in the head, through the face, through the neck. X-23's chopping off people's heads. There's blood. There's guts. I love it. Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say this has like the greatest fight choreography or it's more like I'm old. I'm just going to slash and claw and do what I got to do to kill you. But there's a lot of it. So it works. I love the fight in the beginning with the gang. I distinctly remember seeing this at the theater and people cheering when he stabs that one dude right in like the forehead. Everybody lost their mind. They're just literally screaming. Ah! I remember. And even watching it now by myself, I scream like that. Just by myself. It's great.
I scream by myself.
Yeah, I scream by myself. I don't care. It was great. It's just like, and there's a lot of those moments where like something awesome happens when Xavier's having the seizure and he's like slowly stabbing people through the one guy through the back of the head through his face. Awesome. So I give it a 5. I think if you're going to tell me like this or the Wolverine, I feel like the Wolverine had better action because I liked the choreography, the set pieces, kind of that like the sword fighting, the acrobatics of it. But X-23 gives you the acrobatics in this because she's like freaking Rey Mysterio doing Hurricane Ranas on people. But mostly this is just brutal, hard hitting. And it's also a 5. I loved it.
Oh man, this is a 5. This movie's a 5. You're right. It doesn't have the amount of action that you normally get in a superhero movie, but it has the quality of an excellent superhero movie. And the thing that makes this movie even, oh my God, the action is that you get amped and you get excited. When Wolverine stabs himself with that juicy juice, whatever he drank, whatever he did, the steroids shit, the HGH, and you see him running through the forest, and he's like, ah! And he's like stabbing and clawing. I said, oh my God, my man is back. And then what I loved about it, they took it away. And I said, son of a bitch. Because I was like, I knew it. I was like, why did you do this to me? Like, even in the theater, I felt that pain. Because when he started to get tired, I said, oh, no, they took away the juicy juice. Like, you should have had a little bit of it left. But that scene got me amped, right? The scene that he fought himself was fucking awesome. Because he was like, yo, you killed my man Charles, bro? And he lost it. I loved it. I thought that was really cool. The anger, I thought the Berserker version of him was really great. The scene that it was him and his daughter, they were back to back, and he was like, ah, and she's like, ah, and I was like, oh, and we were like, whoa, like we were all screaming, and I thought it was so good. And yeah, when I'm not gonna lie, when I saw her do her stuff, I totally forgot what she did, and when her foot became a knife, I said, holy shit! I said, this was absolutely awesome. I thought it was really good. So yeah, I gave it a 5. This thing was great. I was like, you know, this is really good. I wish though we got Charles to do something. Go out with a bang, going like
explode somebody or something.
Yeah, like they just mind melt, just boom. I would have like yes,
make someone
bleeding
kill
through the
themselves.
eyes.
Yeah, make someone like take something and like stab themselves in the eye.
I would have been like, you know what? That's
rated
the Charles.
R. Just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, but anyway, 5 across the board because there was enough. Oh, even the little kids got it, and I was like, they were so cool.
Oh, the girl with all the little trees and the little freaking hit him with pine cones and he just burst. Loved it.
Yeah, and then when they turned the man with the metal hand, they all whooped his ass, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He got it the worst.
Him with grass, electrocuted him, froze him.
He got it the worst.
All at the same time.
Yeah, they got it the worst. But anyway, all right, let's get right into the storyline because I already know where you're going to go from down here.
Yeah. There's nowhere else to go. It's a 5. This is a perfect, like I said, I think this is a perfect movie. I think it's a perfect movie. I was talking to my brother literally before we got on here. 30 minutes ago. Said, I can't think. You know, you watch these movies sometimes and you'd be like, yeah, it would have been cool. Like we kind of just did with the villain. Like it would have been cool if it was this. It would have been cool. But would it really make the movie better? I don't know. I don't think there's anything that really you could change that would make this movie like much better. You know what I mean? Or even better. It's perfectly done the way it is. I think they took the inspiration of the Old Man Logan storyline without doing Old Man Logan, because clearly there's no like Hulk and Hawkeye and all those characters that appear in that. But they got the idea of the character from there. And I just think they nailed every single thing. James Mangold, the other writers, like I just think they came up with a great story. You're right, it's dramatic. Everything feels like it has weight. You know what I mean? People die in this. This is not like a happy movie where at the end they all live happily ever after, and nope, only Laura lives. Everyone else dies. You know what I mean? But it's like they all knew it. Yeah. Charles knew this was his last ride. Logan knew this was his last ride when he took the freaking steroids. And I think it was perfect. I think it was a perfect ending. And this is where we were going to, mention, when I found out he was going to do Deadpool, I was like, I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I love Hugh Jackman. I love him as a Wolverine. But when you have such a perfect ending to your character, And I know most likely it's going to be some like multiverse version of him. It's not this one, obviously, but still, it just was, even when at the end she takes the cross and puts it as an X instead, I'm like, that's it. It's perfect. So I give it a 5. There's nothing I would change.
I agree. It was a 5. The movie ended, I was like 5. It was, you're right. I mean, even the Charles Xavier, I mean, he had no one to, like, let's say him and Laura goes off. He has no one left. Mm-hmm. The one that he was with the most, Charles, died. So he pretty much is a lonely X-Men, like, at this point. He had nothing else to give to this world. He gave everything to save this world, time in and time out. He was just like, I'm done. Took the serum, saved these kids for a future, save his daughter, like it or not. He was just like, just go. And I was like, this is crazy. And he did a purpose, like what he wanted to do. He saved the kids and he did his last heroic, act. And the Adamantium was screwing his ass up anyway. But you're right. I mean, the story's so, even with the Spanish lady taking her, going, Wolverine, and he goes, leave it alone, you crazy lady. And he's like, I don't know who the hell she is. And you find out, and then you see the video. That's really fucking sad. I thought Sarah McLachlan was going to come out.
Oh, they're experimenting on the kids?
Yeah, I thought Sarah McLachlan was going to come out and be like, if you donate $1, you can save a mutant.
In the arms of the angels. They're like dragging the kid down the hallway.
He's like, you can save a mutant with $1.
Just show the kid crying, looking at the camera, crying. Oh my gosh. That's in the director's cut. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get that scene and I'm gonna throw the Slaver McLaughlin in the background and see how that looks. Make it in slower motion and put her over it.
Yeah, put it over. Hi, I'm sorry, McLaughlin. But anyway, I thought that was really sad. I mean, it was really sad, and I thought it was cool. I thought it was, like you said, we never got a send off, right? We got Batman trilogy. We never got a send off except The Dark Knight Rises, which, if you want to call it a perfect ending, I guess it is what it is. But we really don't know, right?
He retires.
He
Logan retired. He was forced into retirement.
Yeah, pretty much. They broke his back. He was like, I'm done. But Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, this was the perfect ending. And I gotta say, dude, watching this movie and going, okay, perfect script in terms of storyline has to be the best Marvel movie on screen. In terms of script. Like, I don't hear people go, Endgame and Infinity War. I'm like, no. I'm talking about, like, from beginning to end, no fluff, cameo, no nothing. Like, it is just straight hit hard storyline. And just makes you emotional. You're into it. You're into the action sequences. You're like, where is this Logan gonna go? Where is this girl gonna go? So I think it's the best, hands down, Marvel project that they did.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's definitely elevated above the normal Marvel stuff, comic book stuff in general. I think it's one of the best comic book movies ever. Period.
I agree.
You can say whatever one you like better. You can like this one better. There's ones I probably would rank higher for me personally, but you're just saying, like, what's the best? This is definitely up there in the top 3, probably.
I agree. This is top 2 for me. It has to be top 2, top 3 for anybody that watches superhero movies. And if you don't tell me no, like, you go, oh no, it's top 5, you ain't a fucking superhero movie. Don't give me you're into superheroes and tell me what shit you like. Because if you give me Ant-Man some shit, you're getting slapped somewhere.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
And the Wasp is top 3, better than Logan. But all right, with that said, overall
5. Overall 5. Villains notwithstanding, where I had to give it a 4, but really I wanted to give it a 5 across the board, but I have to be honest, but overall it's a 5. I just, you know what? I love the end of the movie. That last line, rewatching it now, I was trying to remember what the line was because I knew it, because I've seen this movie a couple times. But I feel like it has such a good, like, almost like a double meaning, when she's there and he's there and she's crying and he's dying. And then he says, so that's what that feels like. And he's like kind of smiles. And it's almost like you could apply that to his relationship with her, because she calls him daddy right before that. And then he says that line, and he's always been alone. Even when he was with Xavier, he's alone. And to have that kind of like love at that moment, you could tie it there. Or you could just apply it to the fact that he's never died. He's never even, and he's like, and he knew he was right there at the end. And he's like, this is what it's like, whatever. Either way, it was poignant, and it was like a good moment for him to have, even though it had to happen when he has a tree sticking, through him and stuff like that. Perfect ending, perfect character. Hugh Jackman, perfect casting. There might be someone out there who plays Wolverine in the future. Good luck. Good luck. You know what I'm saying? And they might be good. I will give them a chance. I love the X-Men. I can't wait for more X-Men movies. And someone has to play Wolverine. But I think Hugh Jackman will always be the best. It would take like an effort for someone to even come close. So perfect movie, 5 out of 5.
Look, I agree with everything you said. It's a 5 for me also. It's a fantastic movie from beginning to end. It's a roller coaster of emotions when you're watching this film. You're sad. My eyes was watery at the end of the movie because you really wanted him to go with her. And even with Charles being demented and all this shit, and he's like, you have to keep him alive. She did. She drove the car when he was passed out. She even treated him like a father. Yeah. And you're right, that ending, it's a double meaning, and he maybe could have been that because even Rogue was like kind of his daughter in the first X-Men because he treated her like it. So you could see that he had a lovable side to him. It's just that he was always angry and he was a loner most of the time. But now he had the love of Xavier. He treated him like a dad. It's a really fantastic movie. The score was great. It was ambient at time that it had no music, and then it was perfect amount of that. And then you had the actual score kicked in. I think it was, you're right. It's a fantastic film. And in terms of whoever replaces Wolverine, I will say this was the same thing with the 007. You know, when Daniel Craig came along, everybody's like, Daniel Craig is the best one. It all comes down to script. If the guy could be a piece of shit Wolverine, and if he has a great script that's way better than what Hugh Jackman acted on, like what he got his hand besides Logan, then, you know, everyone's going to be like, oh, he's the best Wolverine, you know, so... I think in terms of, I'm just going to keep my hopes up. I love the character. I'm with you. I love the X-Men. I love the character. Whoever plays him, he has a big shoe to fill, but Hugh Jackman to me will always be the Wolverine, hands down. But other than that, look, it's a 5 for me. We have the same total points, so yeah.
Yeah, so 24 out of 25 from both of us. So coming up now, I'm pretty excited for this next review we're going to be doing because this was like practically a first time watch for me because I saw this when I was a kid and I only remembered one scene. So it was like a brand new movie. We're going to be continuing on with our martial arts movie month, and we're going with Rumble in the Bronx, the 1995, I think, or 94, 95. Jackie Chan, kind of first big like American movie. So we're going to be reviewing that. And then continuing on with 2 more X-Men spinoffs. Now a little bit different here, but still in the category because this is a character who was featured in X-Force, which is of course an X-Men like comic book, and some X-Men feature in the movie. We're going to finally be another one that I'm surprised it took us this long. We're going to be doing some Deadpool. So we're going to be doing the first Deadpool movie. He appeared in Origins, Wolverine, sort of. But now we're going to get the full-on Ryan Reynolds Deadpool movie. So we're going to do the first one as well.
All right, so there you have it, guys. That's our review on Logan. But again, if you guys want to follow us in our social media accounts, please follow Nate over on Instagram at Netflix Reviews. Check out the podcast with him and his friends called Netflix Movie Reviews. Anything Action Movie Guys podcast. Head over to youtube.com/Geeks and Flicks for the video version and now the audio version of the podcast. We're going to start putting those up every week to catch up. But also we are on Instagram. So check us out at Action Movie Guys podcast. We're going to put up snippets of actual podcasts up there and then throw up more of our action movie physical media on there too, and upcoming films that we're going to be reviewing. Other than that, I'm your host, Alex Figueroa. He is
Nate from Netflix Reviews.
Be awesome to each other and geek out.